tiny constellation of Circinus holds a dark myth about a murdered young genius. The boy invented the first drafting tool, which gods forever placed in the sky. Right within these borders exploded the first supernova officially documented in human history. Nearby hides a spiral galaxy with a supermassive black hole surrounded by new stars.
All right, welcome. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the constellation Circinus. Now, it might be one of the smallest constellations in our night sky, but you should not let its size fool you. Tucked away in a really dense part of the Milky Way, it is packed with some of the most fascinating and violent objects in the entire universe. So let's get into it. We're going to break our journey down into 5 parts. First, we'll get our bearings and figure out where Circinus is located. Then we'll zoom in on the stars that actually give it its shape. After that, we're going to uncover the deep space secrets it's hiding, learn how it got its name during the Age of Enlightenment, and finally, explore the ancient Greek myth behind the compass tool itself. You know, at the very heart of our discussion is this incredible contradiction. The constellation is named for a tool that creates perfect, orderly circles, a symbol of human reason. But the patch of sky it marks out is a stage for some of the most chaotic and powerful events in the cosmos. It's this amazing contrast that we're going to explore. First things first, where exactly is Circinus? To get to know any constellation, you've got to know its address in the night sky. So let's start with its cosmic geography. Circinus is a true southern constellation. Your ability to see it depends entirely on where you are on Earth. If you're north of 30 degrees latitude, say in Europe or most of the United States, it's going to be hidden below your horizon, always. But for anyone in the southern hemisphere, it's a permanent fixture, best seen in the night sky during May and June. And this leads to a pretty interesting phenomenon. For observers in places like Sydney or Cape Town, Circinus is circumpolar, which means it never sets. Just imagine looking up into the sky on any night of the year and seeing it trace a slow, perfect circle around the south celestial pole, a constant, unwavering landmark in the heavens. Okay, so now that we know where to find it, let's zoom in. We're moving from its general location to look at the individual stars that actually make up the shape of the compass. Here are the main players in the show. Alpha Circini is the brightest, what astronomers call the Lucida. Then you have Beta, a white main sequence star, and Gamma, which is actually a pair of stars orbiting each other. But the one that's really special here is Alpha Circini. Alpha Circini isn't just a point of light, it's alive. It's a rare type of star called a rapidly oscillating A-star. Imagine a star with this huge magnetic field that causes its entire body to pulsate, contracting and expanding, which makes its brightness change every 6.8 minutes. It is, quite literally, a beating heart in space, 54 light-years away from us. And Circinus isn't just home to stars, but entire solar systems. We've actually found gas giant exoplanets orbiting 2 of its stars, HD 129445 and HD 134060. Scientists spotted them using the wobble method, where they detect the tiny gravitational tug a planet exerts on its star. It's just another reminder of how many worlds are really out there. Let's zoom in even further. We're flying past the foreground stars and plunging into the deep cosmos beyond them. And what we find there are the echoes of cosmic catastrophes. So what are we looking at here? This is a Seyfert galaxy, a galaxy with an incredibly bright, active core powered by a supermassive black hole that's just devouring everything around it. The Circinus galaxy is one of the closest of these to Earth. If we could see it clearly, we'd witness these spectacular rings of newborn stars swirling around that ravenous core, all viewed through the dusty veil of our own galaxy. This is where history and astrophysics collide. Back in 185 AD, Chinese astronomers recorded a new guest star that suddenly appeared in the sky and shone for 8 months. We now know they were witnessing the first ever recorded supernova. And today, if we look at that very same spot, we see RCW 86, the beautiful expanding cloud of debris from that ancient explosion. And then there's the puzzle of Circinus X1. It's an X-ray binary system that contains a neutron star, the super dense corpse of a giant star. But it behaves strangely, blasting out powerful jets of matter, much like you'd expect to see from a black hole. It's also incredibly young for an object like this, making it one of the most baffling cosmic mysteries astronomers are trying to solve. All right, now let's pull our focus back from the depths of space, all the way back here to Earth. We've seen what's in Circinus, but how did it get its name and become an official constellation? This constellation is surprisingly modern, born out of the Age of Enlightenment. A French astronomer named Nicolas-Louis de Lacaille was mapping the southern skies and decided to do something new. Instead of naming his discoveries after ancient myths, he chose to honor the tools of science and art. He called this one le Compas, the compass, and placed it right next to the constellation Triangulum Australe, the southern triangle, like a set of drafting tools in the sky. It officially became Circinus in 1763. So while the constellation itself is modern, the tool it's named for, the compass, is ancient. And with it comes a powerful Greek myth, a story of incredible genius and terrible jealousy. Our story begins with a young genius named Talos, the nephew of the famous inventor Daedalus. Talos just saw the world differently. He studied the spine of a fish, and it inspired him to invent the saw. Then, by joining two iron rods with a hinge, he created the very first drawing compass. But Talos's brilliance sparked a dark jealousy in his uncle. Daedalus couldn't stand the thought of being overshadowed. And in a terrible moment of rage atop the Acropolis in Athens, he did the unthinkable. He pushed his own nephew off the cliff. But the story doesn't end in tragedy. Athena, the goddess of wisdom and patron of craftsmen, intervened. As Talos was falling, she transformed him into a partridge, a bird that to this day is said to fly low to the ground, forever remembering its fall. As for his invention, Athena raised the compass into the heavens, immortalizing it as the constellation Circinus, a testament that true genius can never be destroyed. Which brings us all the way back to a simple number, 93.3. That's the size of Circinus in square degrees. It's the 85th constellation out of 88, making it one of the absolute tiniest. And that perfectly captures our theme. Its small footprint on the sky has nothing to do with its immense scientific and historical importance. So let's end on this thought. An astronomer placed a tool of perfect order and measurement in the heavens. But inside its neat little box, we find exploding stars, chaotic galaxies, and cosmic mysteries we can't explain. It really makes you wonder, what does this tiny constellation truly tell us about our human need for order and a universe that is so vast, so chaotic, and so beautiful?
Thank you, friends. Strive for understanding and become wiser. See you soon.